Oh, welcome to my breasts. Ha ha ha. We're going to try something new, everyone. It's Jennifer McCreath. It is early Sunday morning. I can't sleep, so I thought I'd turn my camera on and tell a story. 11 years ago. Today is Sunday, December, I believe it is December 9th, 2012, so we're going back 11 years. I think it's important to start chronicling the life pre-Jennifer. I'm not like trans people who want to pretend I never existed. I did exist, and I had a lot of great times and memories, and one of those memories took place 2001 November. I used to go on these crazy driving trips. Let's see if I can get a little closer to the camera here. I'd recently been introduced to the band U2 by some co-workers and had attended a couple of concerts of them in my hometown at the time of Toronto, Ontario, and I really got into this band and this tour, 2001 Elevation Tour, All That You Can't Leave Behind. What a great piece of music, that record. I don't think there's a bad song on the album. So I decided it was time to take a little break and go on a driving trip. One other passion had been in my life, and still is as you can see in the background, the Kansas City Chiefs mural. Although I'd seen the Chiefs play football on the road, I'd never actually been to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. So how's this for a scheduling opportunity? You combined U2 and football. Over the course of 5 nighs, you get 3 football games and 2 concerts. Sounds like a pretty fun idea, doesn't it? How's this for a schedule? Sunday afternoon, football game in Kansas City. Monday night, football, just 4 hours down the highway in St. Louis. At the time, the Rams were the hottest show on turf. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, guess who was in town? Kansas City, St. Louis, U2, and U2. And what better way to top off the week than a Thursday night game in Kansas City? That was a trip I just couldn't pass up. So I packed my bags, rented a nice sturdy car, and made the 16-hour drive from Toronto to Kansas City on that Saturday. I don't remember much about the drive. Very exciting to actually pull into Missouri and see the stadium for the first time. I got there a day early, so I booked into one of these crappy hotels and basically had a day to see Kansas City. There was the Negro League Baseball Museum Hall of Fame. There was also the residence of former U.S. President Harry Truman, which I thought was really interesting. I believe there was a jazz museum as well. Anyway, Sunday morning. You know what? I lied. I didn't do that tour stuff till later in the week. I actually How did I get there? I remember pulling in the car. I've got a cat on my light. This video is completely falling apart. Hang on. Dasher. Psst. See how long that works. 16-hour drive into the stadium. Pull into the parking lot, and the attendant sees my license plate. It's like, gee, you've come pretty far to see this game. I'm like, yeah, you know it. Chiefs were 2-6. Which is pretty crappy, playing. Okay, this cat is really getting on my nerves. No cat. Hang on. Let me stand the light up. There we go. Now the other cat's going to take my chair. Hi, Dan. Do you want to say hi to the camera? Hi. He's lovely, isn't he? Hi, Danny. Hi. Whoops. Okay. Chief fans were really upset because we had just gotten ourselves a new coach and a new quarterback. This was supposed to be our year. Trent Green, Dick Vermeil. Just wasn't happening. So there's a lot of empty seats, but it was a beautiful afternoon, even though it was late November. And I had a really good seat, as I recall. It was about 4 rows up, upper deck, center field, so I could see perfectly. Seattle Seahawks were in town, and the Chiefs won the game, 19-7. Pretty boring game, but it's a win. I was really excited, really happy. Dropped about $400 on merchandise, souvenirs, which I still have to this day, actually. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness. Got this Kansas City Chiefs sweatshirt here. And at that stadium that very day, I bought this particular Kansas City Chiefs football jersey. Number 88 at the time, Tony Gonzalez, who is probably the greatest tight end in the history of the sport. And it was an honor to see him play. And so we saw the Chiefs, and the next day we're in St. Louis, traveling to St. Louis to see Monday Night Football. The St. Louis Rams were, I believe, a year and a half removed from the World Championship, and they're playing their arch nemesis, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brad Johnson and famous kicker Martin Gramatica. And it was quite the Monday night game, because the Rams came in, I think they were 6-1 or 7-1, maybe even undefeated, and the Bucs knocked them off on the road. St. Louis, I don't remember. I must have done some sightseeing there, but anyway, Kansas. The thing with the U2 concert was they had a general admission standing room floor ticket, and they had a heart-shaped stage in which fans could actually be inside the heart at the front. However, after watching the shows from the nosebleed seats in Toronto, it became evident to me that the best place to be was actually on the outer edge of this heart. First come, first serve in the rush general admission, so I made sure I got myself to that arena very early and got into the building as soon as the doors opened and walked right down to the front, the bottom end. If you think of the heart, you're right at the edge there. Perfect place to be for the show. And we were packed in like sardines, and I had a chance to chat with some of the other fans, literally standing beside me there for at least 2 hours before the show started. And who's the opening act? I think it was Garbage, who was not Garbage, actually, pretty good band. Down came U2, finally. Similar to the shows I had seen in the earlier legs in the show, in the tour, I knew what I was going to get to see, and it was just, to be able to be right down there up front was phenomenal. I think everyone got jealous of me. During the third song, Edge and Bono walked to the edge of the heart, and Edge decided, for some reason, he wanted to climb up. There was this kind of pole or something. He reached out and grabbed my hand, and I literally helped him climb up this little ladder so he could be elevated above the people. Really neat to see that. After the big stadium shows, U2 kind of scaled it down a little bit in a more kind of pure musicianship. It's easy to hide bad musicianship behind 47 saxophones and trumpets and keyboards and synthesizers. You get Edge and Bono and an acoustic guitar and one voice, and it just sounds as amazing as anything. You know you've got good musicians, good songs, good songwriters, and we had one hell of a 2-hour show that night. And off we went to St. Louis again the next day for the same show. I was a little later getting down to the arena that night. I think I had trouble finding parking, but I ended up 2 or 3 rows deep behind the heart, so almost as perfect as the last night. And by then winter had kind of hit, and it was once again back to Kansas City. That's a lot of driving. Toronto, Kansas City, St. Louis, Kansas City, St. Louis, Kansas City, Toronto. So I was getting... The Interstate 70, you could say, is a road that I've become familiar with on this trip, going back and forth. Thursday night football at Arrowhead Stadium, how's that? 2 games at Arrowhead in 5 nights. But the weather had changed. It had gone from a warm, sunny environment the first day to a freezing cold Thursday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I guess the Chiefs, right from the get-go, Philadelphia went for the onside kick. David Akers, who's still in the league, one of the best kickers of all time, perfected the onside kick. Philly got the ball, marched down and scored, never looked back. It was a complete and utter blowout. I think the score was like 38-5 or something. Total embarrassment for the Chiefs, but I stayed right to the end. It was my dream to be there. 1,000 miles, literally, of driving to get to Kansas City from Toronto, Ontario. There was no chance I was going to miss even one snap of that football game. I don't care how cold and miserable the weather was and how crappy the Chiefs were playing. That game essentially knocked the Chiefs out of the playoff contention, but I was just really happy and excited to have been able to attend the stadium twice in a week, 3 football games and 2 U2 concerts in literally a span of 4 hours and 4 days and 4 hours. Is that right? A lot of driving. September 11th had obviously just occurred, and I remember the border security was tighter. But they did a complete search of my car, but they had no issues with the fact that I'd purchased some Kansas City Chiefs souvenirs and got them back into Canada as per whatever they call it, the allowance, and brought that rental car back with quite a few more kilometers on it than it initially had. Yeah, I've literally driven. I've attended in person 47 out of the 50 states in my life, and the majority of those visits occurred between the years 2000 and 2006, when I literally countless trips to see concerts and sporting events and to visit friends. And yeah, I'm enjoying chronicling this and revisiting it. And I guess another fun part of those road trips was having a binder full of CDs. And I think about how I grew up in the 80s ignoring music, and finally in the mid to late 90s I discovered 60s and 70s music. And it was right around that time that I became very interested in music, and add up how many hours of sitting in a car on a highway, 16, 4, 4, 4, 4, 16, 10, 20, 30, 48 hours of driving. So I got to listen to a lot of music, some music which I was familiar with, some music which I was not. Great opportunity to become a student of classic rock, and to be able to see U2 live in concert is a phenomenal experience. In total, I caught them 5 times on that 2001 tour, and 4 years later they toured again. 2005 I saw them 4 more times, so I've seen U2 live in concert 9 times, but none greater memory of U2 for me than that night in Kansas City. The set list had a few amazing surprises as well, and actually, you know what? I don't know if we should be doing this, but there's a snippet. U2 would always throw in, when they finish a song, they would do a couple lines of some rare classic, and in some cases they would do a line of one of their own rarities. When I Look at the World is a lovely tune that they kind of never played live, at least at this time, until here. Let's take a listen. Even the cat's singing along. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. God, I remember that so well. They just finished singing Bad, which had an amazing extended guitar solo at the end, then boom, right into that lovely little acoustic snippet, as they call it. And without even taking a break, it then launched into Where the Streets Have No Name. And the building was just going insane. One other eerie memory, I was literally standing right in the center of that arena and was able to look up and see the scoreboard. And at one point in that show, it kind of hit me. 17, May, June, July, August, 18 months prior, one of the saddest events in sports entertainment history occurred right there where I was standing when Owen Hart, legendary wrestler from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, fell out of the roof and died tragically while attempting to perform a stunt. And I just remember there was a break in between songs, and I just sort of looked at the people and said, "Any wrestling fans here?" A few people kind of said, "Yeah," and they said, "We're standing right where Mr. Owen Hart died." And they kind of looked at me and said, "Wow, you're right." Amazing. Small world, I guess. Kansas City, Missouri. I would return to that city on not numerous occasions, but a few times. 2002, the next summer, one of my all-time favorite bands, the Eagles, launched a tour, 30th anniversary tour, which also played Kemper Arena in Kansas City, and I was there. 2006, I would return to Kansas City to see the Chiefs play against the San Francisco 49ers. I got to get back there. Not just for football. There's other issues I can tackle there in the transgender movement. The Midwest is probably among the least accepting of diversity, and there are trans people in Kansas City who are fighting the fight and struggling the struggle to stay alive and do well. And that's one of my goals, 2013, is to reach out to that city of Kansas City, introduce myself now that I'm a quasi B-list celebrity, being a well-known personality here in Canada as a transsexual marathon runner, to try to utilize that. I won't necessarily use the word fame, but yeah, I'm going to reach out to the Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Royals, and other Kansas City organizations, and see if we can find a way to let that city and that state be a little bit more accepting. We had a senator in there. Was it a senator? No. Some political candidate who made some type of disgusting comment about rape and voluntary rape. There's no such thing as voluntary rape. Give me a break. Yeah, we're going to go and clean up the act out there. But I wanted to turn the camera on and remember what I would consider one of my most favorite of all of my driving trips to a place other than a warm, sunny destination. We'll get into the Florida and California trips on another video, but wow, what a week that was. Kansas City, St. Louis, 3 football games, 2 U2 concerts. Never forget it. Amazing experience. Thanks everyone for watching. Jennifer McCreath, Chronicling My Past. Volume 1, I guess we'll call this. Hope it wasn't too boring. And yeah, I'll try to do one of these again soon. Thanks everyone for watching.